ukukhona umuntu ukuthi khona kuzoncediswa phela lapha akuncediswa yena yedwa, kuncediswa i-relationship. That's why people are missing it. It's not for the men, it's for the
Seliqalile bantu
relationship.
besithembu. Seliqalile bantu besithembu. Right. Let's flip it over. Nangu umama sefuna libe nguthumoyo. Sokulosibande eceleni khuluma.
Lukhona usiko, I think it's in West Africa thereabout, ekuvumayo khona. Akuvunyelwa kwelethu singuvumela obaba ukuthi babone. Nxa kuyikuthi lami ngibona ngathi ukuthi nje nxa kuyikuthi ngoba I'll point this out there and say this: people have threesomes out here, so kwehlukene na. So nxa ukuthi
People have all threesomes.
Yes. So akuhlukananga as long as sivumela, of which I'm not yet shooting up like, but as long as sivumela.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sunny Jermaine Show. My name, of course, is SJ or Sunny Jermaine, and today on the podcast, I have with me someone I've known for a very long time. His name is Ntando Van Moyo, or you might know him as Umahlekisa. So he's just about to explain as to why exactly he's called Ntando Van Moyo. Moyo, welcome. Ngena ehlelweni.
Yes, thank you very much, Ndlovu, and welcome to everybody that's listening, that's watching, and everything else. And yeah, man, it's been a while, and it's nice to hear from you after such a long time.
Yey wena, kanti awusasitshela ukuthi usungublonde.
Hayi, yabona izikhathi kumele uhambele ifashini futhi yabona ama-trendsetter ama-A-lister ama-superstar.
Sengithi ngiyangena ebulenjini kwelinye ilanga ngibona blonde comedian. I'm like, how kathi mbani ke lo? Ngibona nguwe. What inspired the blonde comedian? I love it, by the way. What inspired it?
I think ukuthi you know, I think you've always known ukuthi mina vele ngumuntu ocabanga ngendlela zakhe, you know. So into there's some time ago engamsenza khona indebvu zami zibe yisilver. It's sort of kind of an expression yami nje le comedy yami, where it's going, yabo, ukuthi I want to jump ama-boundary, you know. Izinto abantu abangazi-expectiyo from someone of a certain background, yabona. Ngibadubule ngazo.
Yeah. Speaking of your background, most people actually don't know you. I actually met you 20 years ago. Do you remember?
Yes.
UNICEF program yani. We were still in high school. Mina ngiseMpophoma High, wena useluveve. And ngabantwana kwedrobheni kuMvuluza, and we were the only two kids. Lo Sinqobile, do you remember Sinqobile?
Yes. Besidelela kubi besithi sivele emalokishini.
Yey wena kudelela kusithi Gordon, and we had never heard ukuthi people call it a Gordon.
You know ndoda nasibuya ngomthobo bona bezophikwa.
Yey wena kunzima. So tell my Dutch listeners, Ami, how do you get to call yourself Ntando Van Moyo?
Well, I think bayakwazi ukuthi ufane uthi ukuthi owakomoyo. So ngoyisigcizelelo, you know, my friends always call me General, you know. It's a nickname that they picked up. So there was a time, I'm also an Arsenal supporter, you know. So there was a time when Arsenal kuthiwa nguVan Persie, and wayechisa kakhulu, and at that time lami kuthiwa nginguGeneral ngangitshisa kakhulu ezintweni esasizenza. So that's when they picked it up ukuthi hawu General Van Moyo, So it's just stuck.
Awu. All right. Hayi-ke sibonge-ke General. UGeneral uzelwe ngaphi? Ufunde ngaphi?
uGeneral uzelwe esibhedlela sempilo kodwa wafunda eSolusi Lisabatho General. Wafunda eSolusi Lisizane Luveni
Ayisuka.
lase-University.
Isabatho kwanini?
Isabata baptized SDA at 12 like Jesus. Pork eating SDA.
At 12. At 12.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I did not
Yes.
know
Actually,
that. All right.
the most part of my childhood, I always thought ama-church angaso SDA ama-satanist, abangena esanti.
Yeah, andivele osathane beRoma esabatheni badumile. So right, I remember even back in the day, so after we did the UNICEF gig, you were in Interact, I was in Interact. So you would host parties at your school, we would come Lavo Candy, and we would host parties in my high, you guys would come over. What do you have to tell kids today who don't do our Interact? Nyambuza abantwana, lisahamba ku-Interact lina, and they're like, no. I'm like, what?
I think I don't know whether it's the change in the curricula kumbe kuyini eyenza abantwana I think bayasilela kakhulu because that helped us build all these connections that we have today and the alternative careers that we ended up having, because I don't think ukuthi ngabe sasingayenzanga ku-interact and sasingasoze phumelela kuma-fields esikiwo khathesi because at our time, the kind of jobs that we're doing right now were not mainstream. People wanted to be lawyers, people wanted to be doctors, people wanted to be all of that. But during isikhathi se-interact, that is when we discovered ukuthi you can actually make a living out of all these other hobbies, izinto okuthiwa ngama-hobbies, into ezazikuprepare ukuthi khona yabo labantu otshayisana nabo. Khathesi if you don't mingle, like ubesikhuluma ngokuthi khona sasivele elokishini, we go to mingle labantwana bema-A schools and stuff like that. So wena nxa ungahamba umfana we-CBC uzaconnecta la enjani, uconnecta nomfana wemagwegwe, abala business ngibo, wena ufuna ukurun ibhizinesi, it won't work for you.
Yeah, uqinisile.
They created ama-synergies and connections because angeke wena uthi uphuma emagwegwe expect ukuthi uzaba lama-connection lo mntakamakhelwane olomsika lawe ngene kulo msika, which means you are all building up ukuya emsikeni, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, awuqinisile. Anti nanko sathi sesisuka kubo Interact saqonde British Council.
Khathesi siphila kanje, yikho khona
labo butholezwe nyathi.
Yes, of course, yes, you see, and through that konke khonokho was yizo izinto ezenza ukuthi ngabantu esikhuluma ngabo abaseboma-positions of influence right now, all through ama-systems wona lawo esasidlule kiwo.
Hayi khona kunjalo. Uke waqamba umthetho, angisho wake wafuna ukuba liloya, awuzange wabuyela emthethweni.
Hayi, angizange ngabuyela emthethweni, umnotho wasuka wangehlula, so I had to drop out of ukwenza umthetho, but it's still something that I'm passionate about, engizibalela wona ngizihlalele, and yikho lezi zinto zamalungelo izinto engisebenza ngazo kakhulu, especially amalungelo abantu bakithi, labantu abancindezelweyo, because into engiyinanzelelayo ukuthi khona umthetho ule selective application, and kusiya ngokuvuma kwesikhathi lo mnotho into engikhayelela ukuthi as long as ngiphefumula ngizoyiqedelela ukwenzela ukuthi uhlelo engifuna ukuhamba ngalo luphume ngendlela.
All right. I think indlela enhle ukuhlanganisa icommittee lomthetho, bona ngathiwa into ezinzima kanje abantu uma bengahleki vele ngeke bezwisise.
Yeah.
All right. So, akungitshele sesihlangana nazo inhlupho bakithi, sihlangana ngenhlupho zika-Calvin, sihlangana ngenhlupho zika-Clive Chikupu, inhlupho zika-Conti. Yeyi, kwanzima.
Ya kwanzima, I think ukuthi bekuyizikhathi ezinzima kakhulu. Ngathi for example ukhona umuntu owahlela kakhulu umsebenzi we-arts khonapha eZimbabwe la koBulawayo, wavula ama-opportunities for abantu abaningi, and it's a big loss to the industry, but then ingathi ukuthi ngithini, for me I think ukuthi okaCalvin lo Clive yikho okwangivisa kakhulu, because these were people that were close, ebesisebenza sonke almost on a daily basis. And as you know, sasisonke ngosuku eshona, and it was really into ebuhlungu kakhulu. And lo Clive, we've been working together, to establish a comedy scene in industry koBulawayo. So vele lakathi izinto consider kwezikhathi nxa kusiba le show, I really haven't, after his passing, really haven't had like a show similar to because it just doesn't feel the same. It feels weird, it feels empty, nxa lifika estage nje that's kakho ku line up njani, it's not even there, even crowd. It's
Anyway.
It's a hard one. And kuyatshengisela ukuthi isikhathi sethu kumele sisebenzise kunzima.
Yeyi, sesikhehleka, sesingamadala.
Uthi udlule emgwaqweni abantwana bathi nangumalume.
Hayi, khona kunjalo. Sibe sisakhuluma ngaba abantwana bona ukuthi hayi khanya ngathi yikho kubenza beye kumavuzu lawa amavuzu, kumbe kuyini khonokho kwawayo.
I think ukuthi it's also indaba ze-technology akithi. Le diaspora, economy, contributize, and there's people who want to blame my parents and stuff like that, but the economy enjani. There's no one to parent the kids. There's no one to do that, because my parents, they're in the diaspora. They're out there. They're fending for the kids. These kids are young. They've got disposable income eningi kakhulu, edlula utitsha, edlula umpolisi okumele amkhuze. You won't be able to khuza umntwana le 15, 16 years. Le mali edlule eyakho wena uyisebenzelayo ehola yena kuyi-pocket money yakhe. It's driving. Wenzani? Ukuhamba ngoZuku.
Lo Conti wake watsho njalo enewspapeni ukudaladala, exactly like into isho. Hayi, mele abantwana beye ku-interact, bejoyina ama-program la, into eziluncedo ayikhona amafuthi.
Bathole le guidance, because i-development iqakathekile khonapha.
And abakwazi uyakhumbula ukuthi even amaphathi esasiwenza nge-interact sasikhompyutha le-exmos, abantwana abafana baka-Oskit.
Yes. Kunzima.
Sasebhizinisini sisesikolo.
You remember ukuthi we were already applying for ama-loans lana ephiwa i-government, ama-youth loans and what, and we were already having business plans sisesikolo at that time. Khathesi ungamtshela njalo ukuthi okay, they don't even know, abakwazi ukuthi kuhamba njani ukuthi
hayi siyathemba ukuthi nanso uMahlekisa Comedy Club ilokhu iqina almost 10 years now. Suyifile 10 years, ne?
Yeah, next year.
I think next year, yes, I'm right. Yeah, next year, ne? Hayi, amhlophe awuyiphushile shem, nguwe wethu.
Kunzima ukuthi uzubona, funa abantu abasupport iArsenal lokho, yabona, patience even izinto zinzima.
Hayi, phusha nge-Arsenal khanya ngathi iyakuhambela kahle. So right, tell us naso siyayibona siyambona umahlekisa sokugraduate abo Long John. Long John simshayela
Yes.
isandla usebenza nabo Steve Harvey. How proud are you
Yes,
of
yes,
Umahlekisa Comedy
yes.
Club?
Yeah, I think ukuthi yisibili kuhle ngoba silabo abanye even oChick Joy, first Black African ventriloquist khona la Phumekiti and stuff like that, and we're really proud of abantu abanjalo nabo Long John, because it shows ukuthi I remember ukuthi Long John abantu abaningi they didn't believe in him, vele Mtare vele Harare, wazofika lapha
Mm-hmm.
koBulawayo safika samamukela workshop senzani and everything else. I think it's an inspirational story to even abanye who are upcoming to show what what incubation ikhona, as long as your head is in the right place, things can happen for you.
Awuqinisile uLong John ngiyamkhumbula sibile vele Mtare. 10 years ago somewhere
Kunzima.
there.
Mm. Mm. Kunzima zindaba
Hayi
kunzima. Mm.
ikupush. So tell me, how many languages do you speak? I like to ask abantu ukuthi bakhuluma ama languages amangaki.
One isiZulu lesiNdebele anti two different languages. Lesikhiwa
Yeah, hayi lami ngubala njenge-2. Anti uyakhona ukutshintsha uma ufuna.
mawufuna. Yeah. So I think ngathi 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5. All right. Waqambe.
Engiwakhuluma isikhiwa, isiZulu, isiNdebele, isiShona, isiNyanja. Actually kuningi lokho. IsiVemba, isiSwahili
Kuningi.
sesaphela ekhanda,
Oh.
but laso rafiki yangu.
Asante
So ngathi
sana.
6.5. Yeah, because iSwahili actually ngangisikhuluma
6.5.
ngasifunde primary, so I haven't been around people that speak to communicate with them a lot in the past years, but I can actually hear and communicate lo muntu osikhulumayo imphendule ngesikhiwo. La ngaso nje unongamabala lokho ngisadobhadobha. I-practice yeseyaphelayo.
Wasifunda e-primary. Mina bengithi
Yebo.
I remember wake waye-DRC bengisithi wasifunde e-East Africa.
Laphana ngase ngisazi vele. Laphana ngase ngisazi.
Okay. IsiSwati-ke phela anti uyakuhlala eMaswatini.
Yeah, iSiswati, yazi iSiswati lesiZulu yazi angithanda ukuconsider njengamala, because they are more or less the same, just changing i-dialect. Well,
Kuyafana.
age lesiSwati, right? Kuyafana nje nesiXhosa, it's
Exactly.
I find these
Yeah.
Nguni languages, because they are sort of almost intertwined, and when you're in that territory uyakukhuluma yona, so we usually consider them as one language, because maybe it's because alula siwajayele sijona siwakhuluma sisawa-consider as languages to put out as ama-languages esiwazi.
Yeah. No, do you know what? The reason why I'm asking is because I obviously living in a foreign country, I always have to explain to people who I am,
Yes.
and things like languages. And then people are interested, Dutch, they are very interested in knowing more about African history. And, of course, Bantu languages are dominant. So people usually ask me that, and it's quite surprising for people to know that we speak so many languages. And also for our South Africans, given the prevailing climate,
Climate, yes.
abanga understand that. Explain to them.
I think ukuthi a problem ekhona why ama-South Africans enjalo, i-system yakithi yabatshela yathi amaZimbabweans amashona. But they don't understand ukuthi khona there's only people that are actually in Zimbabwe that migrated from South Africa. Kulamavenda lapha, kulamaXhosa, all those lamandebele angapha akhona athene, lamandebele angale, amaswati akhona khona, sisiya konke lapha, amasuthu, siya kubo Gwanda and everything else. So it's lamaTswana akhona actually right here. So I think they are also naive and oblivious to all of that, which is something that maybe needs to be brought to light to them. Ukwenza ukuthi ba-understand ukuthi khona even izinto zase-xenophobia lezi vele uyathola ukuthi khona abaningi babo maybe okhulu babo bavela khona nga.
Absolutely. Hayi khona kunjalo. Wayibona yini i-coronation inkosi uMisuzulu wakhuluma ngakho?
Yeah. Handla lihambile iqula lakithi khona.
Wathi hayi iqula lalihambile walibona. Hayi kunjalo. Hayi uma ukhuluma ngolimi so kungikhumbuza umthunywa I think kule 20 years. Usakhumbula one of the headlines umthunywa eqala kuthiwa uMabhemi utholakala etshayisa thongwana embhedeni womuntu.
Hayi labana ondoda labana babhala yazi ukuthi ngenye indlela yokuthi la uyaba le vivid imagination yokuthi khona into le bisenzakala uyayibona ekhanda lakho ukuthi hawu bekukunje.
Hayi kodwa kwanceda ngoba phela anti isikhathi sana yikho sasesingena kubo A level kwakunceda ukuthi sibale isindebele.
Bale sithole lo hlelo silufundele khona phana.
Yeah. Hayi kunjalo. Anti nanko kunje sesifuna labo mnakwethu kanti alisantshethu livukela into emnandi kanje.
Mina ngamangalo sithi le into uyayiqalisa ndoda. Mina yazi ukuthi lana vele iretha kuma-top programs vele angikhuthi. Nxa ngiyikhutha ngihle ngiye ku-catch up khonapho ngiyebukela. Yazi ukuthi into ekhulunywa ngondoda lona yazi ukuthi ngilokuxabana labantu abaningi ngoba siyasebenza kundaba ze-gender activism and so forth. Nge-art yethu le. So siloku ukhuluma ngayo indaba nale esithembu i-polygamy nithi khona uyazi ukuthi abelungu bona abazange balahla ama-cultures ba-practice to the fullest. Lamanye amatsha abawa-create-ayo ba-practice to the fullest. Thina awethu sifuna ukuwalahlela abantu. Le population bakithi yazitholula. People should share. Vele i-monogamy was not created for
soqalisile. So uyasifuna na isithembu ngubizela umseleku njengamanje.
Vele kabuye vele ngimfuna kakhulu ngoba eqinisweni akulanto embi. You know what, if you look at it from a progressive point, kulama STIs and everything else, there's izinto ze-GBV ezenzakalayo kuma-relationships la akhona ama-marriages and stuff. They're all caused because of mainly infidelity, lack of transparency ebantwini angithi. Also lama-inadequacies abantu abalawo, inadequacies nokuzizwa abantu bengathi bale ownership lo muntu sesithi indoda yami umfazi wami, but then isithembu siyakukhipha khona kuyana ukuthi khona nomuntu awumboni liyakha liyabuilda and lessons ama-problems amaningi akhona. Abantu abakunanzeleli bafuna ukukhayela ukuthi khona uncindezelwa mama. Uncindezelwa ngaphi mama nxa ukuthi ukukhona umuntu ukuthi khona kuzoncediswa phela lapha akuncediswa yena yedwa, kuncediswa i-relationship. That's why people are missing it. It's not for the men.
Eliqalile bantu besithembu. Eliqalile bantu besithembu. Right. Let's flip it over. Nangu umama sefuna libe nguthumoyo. Sokulo sibande eceleni khuluma.
Lukhona usiko, I think it's in West Africa thereabout. Ekuvumayo khona. akuvunyelwa kwelethu
Okay.
singokuvumela obaba ukuthi bakwenze. Nxa kuyikuthi lami ngibona
Ngenxa.
ngathi ukuthi nje nxa kuyikuthi ngoba I'll point this out there and say this, people have threesomes out here, so kwehlukene nga. So nxa ukuthi
People
like
have
bona
all
ngathi
three sums.
kuyavumela. Yes, so akuhlukananga as long as sivumela, of which I'm not yet to ngavumela like, but as long as
Right.
sivumela because
Alright.
it's I think
Alright, so tell me.
more or less not just threesomes. People get into relations. Siyathandana labafazi babantu. Angithi, let me just say that. Not ukuthi mina ngiyathandana, but then we do that as people. Angithi. So if you can date umfazi womuntu, already it means ukuthi usesithembini, because it's you, her husband, and her. It's the three of you. It's just maybe because you haven't chosen to formalize it. I think it all comes down to ego yokuthi abantu bazakuthini ngoba sokusazakala. It's the same when you discover that your partner or your wife or whoever is cheating on you. It's what angers you the most is not because they've been doing it. It's because now it's out in the open, and it's because people now know. But you've been experiencing and enjoying each other in the same way. Ungakwazi ukuthi there's someone else in the picture, probably making you guys even have a more fruitful relationship. You see?
I see. I was actually going to ask, what have you learned about sex? Usuhle wayi-answer ngezinye indlela. Ungayigcizeleli.
Okay.
About sex. Isekisi.
Isekisi yayenza ukuba i-currency, but yinto nje kuphela ukuthi abantu kumele bazijabulise ngayo. Akumele ibe i-currency, akula muntu onesitho somunye umuntu. But it's unfortunate ukuthi because we have commercialized it and we have put tags to it, so mentally, psychologically, people feel like so kumele kube into enjalo.
I see. All right. Now, what have you learned about parenting? Nabanye asikabi ngama-parents, ufundani ngokuparenta?
Parenta kunzima, it's a big scam.
Yabo.
I hate
Yabo.
my kids.
Okay. Why?
I hate my kids. And I love pressure, but it's just that they're alive, now. I can't take them back. But it's something esebenzayo. It works when they grow up because you get to practice modern slavery. Some things you don't have to do for yourself. Get free labor.
Free labor.
Yeah.
That's true. I have something. Exact. Oh, all right. No, last but not least, I have something that I call a head scratch question. Because you are the most senior artist that I know. And I was going to, so I normally make you, I'm a guest, I may choose between one of two things. And bengizathi khetha phakathi kukakhonti lo phathisa, khetho yi-one, kodwa hayi njengoba ukhonti sowadlula emhlabeni, ngizawubuza omunye umbuzo. Khetha phakathi, ngizawubuza ama-TV characters instead. Khetha phakathi kukaSnake, played by Alex Zulu, or Umzambane, played by Zenzo Nyati. Khetha oyi-one.
Mina Aleka, sorry, Snake, mina uhamba phambili. Uzenzo sibili sebenza sokuzabukela sebenza sokufuta zinyakuncanywa, but hayi i-favorite vele kufana noRonaldo noMessi. Mina Alex Zulu yizinto Snake khona.
Sharp, sharp. Hayi ke, ngibonge kakhulu. It's nice to catch up. It's been a while.
Thank you
Hayi,
kakhulu,
continued
and thanks
success.
everybody for tuning in.
a- abantu bangakuthola ngaphi?
Yeah,
Usemsakazweni, usebulenjini.
abantu bangangithola emsakazweni. If you can tune in every Friday at 15:30 on www.skiesmetroradio.com. I've got a show there called The Weekly Tech with Ntando Van Moyo, where we talk about generally everything and anything that's been happening all around the world. Twitter ngikhona, Twitter at Ntando Yenkosi, Instagram, Facebook, Ntando Van Moyo. Both of those also on YouTube, Ntando Van Moyo. Yeah, man. Basically.
Awe, YouTube, angisho Laugh Out Loud
YouTube.
Thursdays.
Laugh Out Loud Thursdays, yes. Also Ntando Van Moyo, my own YouTube channel yami kwaphana bathola izinto zisenzakala. Yes. Yeah. Kunjalo.
No, I was happy to see you do Laugh Out Loud Thursday. Usakhumbula ukuthi iproposal yona le sake sayisa kutafataona amawoso labo labantu bakhe bavele baba le stress bathi concept abayizwa.
Kakhulu. Kuningi esingikhona kusenzakala khathesi engangihleka. I was talking to Ngo the other day. Some things were just ahead of their time to the people that we were pitching. I think they were the wrong people at the offices or wherever we were going because they didn't understand. Plus, we had already been exposed to future technology. We had been exposed to amanye norms. To us, it looked ordinary because we had the exposure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we had the exposure in an unexposed world at the time.
Awe, hayi. Uyivale kahle. Exposure. Siyabonga. Sicela abantu abatsha, expose yourself. I-arts kayiphushwe. Moyo, mbonge kakhulu. Siyodibana kumnakwethu iviki elizayo.
Thank you, Ndlovu. Kompa.
Thank you, everybody. See you again next time when there's